Good afternoon, LinkedIn, YouTube, and yeah, that's it. My name is Angelica Corral. I'm with What in the World Events, and today we have a wonderful guest, Peter Mulfler,
Everybody.
right?
Yep, correct.
Good, good. And we're going to be talking about gaming. He plays video games, and our earlier guest, for some reason, I could not get a hold of, so I don't know if there might have been some emergency or something, but I didn't want to leave this room open, so we'll schedule another one for our friend Feras. So Feras, you have more time to prepare. So, but now we have Peter,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to ask him some questions because he's a gamer, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And he plays video games. So, Peter, tell me a little bit about yourself and where you grew up and how you landed in the land of Texas.
Sure. So I've been in Colleyville, Texas my whole life. So for everybody that's somewhat familiar with Texas, so there's Dallas and there's Fort Worth, and Colleyville is like right in the center. So it takes probably 50 minutes to an hour to drive from Fort Worth to Dallas. So I'm like right in the middle of it. And then so as my profession, I'm a gamer. I like to do it on the outside, but my profession's a recruiter. So I've done recruiting for about 5 years now. Most recently recruited for a company. It's called Alpine, but probably more recognizable companies I've recruited for have been Amazon, Boeing, Texas Instruments, Enbridge Energy, and UPS. Those are probably a little bit more well-known companies. But yeah, I've been in Texas my whole life. I'm gonna be 30 years now here, which is crazy.
Wow, that is awesome. So tell me about the type of recruiting that you do. Is it just for any type of position, or what type of work do you
Sure. So
usually?
I've done anywhere from hourly to senior management recruiting. So corporate, agency, technical, high volume, low volume, I guess, is kind of the corporate side of things, and high volume is more of that agency side.
Nice. Okay, cool. I used to work for a temp agency, so it's kind of like that.
Hmm. Right.
Awesome. So here we're getting into the game universe.
Yep.
I'm in the land of San Diego, so here we have Comic-Con.
Right.
So if you are a gamer, this is like
Hmm.
paradise.
Hmm.
So if you could insert yourself into any game universe, which one would it be and why?
Sure. So a gaming universe that I would really like to. So I'm a big Dragon Ball Z fan. It's anime. I don't know if anyone else likes Dragon Ball Z, but I would like to insert myself into that universe because all these humans can become super powered and they can fly. They're super strong, and you fight aliens. You fight these androids or cyborgs, whatever you want to call them, and it would
Mhm.
be a fun universe to be a part of.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Dragon Ball Z is really popular at Comic-Con.
Hmm.
They give away a lot of their paraphernalia too whenever
Hmm.
they whenever they have events. So that's cool.
Absolutely.
All right. So we all have gaming guilty pleasures, right?
Hmm.
What's the one game you secretly love but might be embarrassed to admit to your fans or to your friends?
Hmm. So there's a bit of a debate. So one game I do like, and I'd be curious because I've done a bunch of different types of games, and I guess the one game I can think of is I really like Madden. And the thing why is that can be bad is because Madden's kind of the same thing over and over. It's a football game. Are you
Oh,
familiar with Madden at all?
no, I haven't heard it.
Okay, so a little bit of a background on them. So it's like the NFL's official game. And so they have all 32 teams in there. They have different game modes going on.
Mhm.
And the thing is that people complain about the online abilities. They complain about franchise mode, which franchise is like you can take over one of the teams and you can go through the seasons. You can make trades. You can sign free agents. You can do whatever you want with the franchise mode. And the main reason why, well, I guess the main reason is franchise mode. There can be glitches. I know you had that question earlier about
Mhm.
different things that can really bother me, and that I probably dig into more of that. But if anything, that's my guilty pleasure, just because a lot of people don't like the game, and they always wait for the next year's game because they hope that the company makes the game better the next year.
Well, that's awesome. So, streaming games can be like a roller coaster ride.
Hmm.
What's been your biggest face palm moment during a game, and how did you recover from it?
Sure. So this is a completely different game too. Again, I've played a wide range of games. So one
Mhm.
game I've played is called Battlefront, and it's a Star Wars game.
Mm.
And so basically, the way the game operates is that you're on one of the maps within Star Wars, and you have two teams, um, and there's two game modes. One, there's a capture the flag mode where you have to go all the way to the other person's base, take the flag, come back
Mhm.
to your base. There's that.
Mhm.
And then there's also a second game where you're trying to get to a total of 150 kills. Um, and when my facepalm moment came into play, was when I was on one team, and it really came down to the wire where we were playing first to 150 kills, and I was it was, when it got to like 140 to 140 kills, we're getting nervous, because there's 10 people on the team, and then all of a sudden we start seeing our numbers go up, their numbers go up slowly, slowly, and we both got to 149, and
Wow.
I I saw somebody and I made the mistake, because a thing about the game is that you have your guns that you can shoot at each other, and you
Uh-huh.
also have grenades that you can throw at each other. And the face palm moment for me was that I saw somebody where I've played the map over and over, to where if I throw this right now, I know it'll hit them and they'll die and we'll win.
Mhm.
The only problem was that somebody on my team, but still kind of my thing, was that I threw it
Mhm.
and it bounced off of them and then came back to me. I died. We lose the game.
Oh, no.
So that was definitely my biggest face palm
That
moment.
was friendly fire
Yep.
in a way.
Yeah.
So, if you could have any superpower to aid you in streaming or in gaming,
Hmm.
what would it be and
Sure.
why?
Sure. Well, streaming. So, and also, like, whenever I watch other streamers, whenever you see a big donation come through on your streaming channel, it's the coolest thing. I don't know if you're familiar with Mr. Beast at all,
Oh,
but
yes.
okay, so one of his many videos he's done is that he will watch streamers and randomly donate, thousands of dollars to them.
Mhm.
And depending on who you are, if you get $1,000 by a random person, well, you would be happy if anybody just randomly gave you $1,000.
Oh,
um,
yes,
so that
definitely.
so that would be my superpower, is to influence people to give me bigger donations. Because that's the thing, is that when they're making that living, who knows how often you'll get those big donations. So that would be my superpower, is to try to help get those bigger donations.
And that's awesome. We have a comment. Malik Rashid says,
Hmm.
"So the pro gamers talk is going on."
Hmm. A little bit.
You you have a comment on that?
I mean, a little bit. So I've watched a ton, or not a ton, but I've watched a few pro gamers, and especially the reactions of them getting the giant donations is always super fun. And also seeing how intense they get. Like I thought in myself, I would normally get pretty intense whenever I play games, but when
Mhm.
some of these streamers are just on a whole nother level compared to me, like they'll get so mad that they'll start breaking things if if something goes wrong for them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's when they need to go into the mindful Monday room.
Yep. So,
So, imagine you're stranded on a deserted island
mhm,
with only one video game
sure.
console and one
Mhm,
game.
mhm.
What would they be, and how long do you think you'd last before going absolutely stir crazy?
Hmm. So in a way, I've kind of done this before because it was so back in my freshman year of high school, which was 2009, 2010. We had a big snowstorm here in Texas. And that's not a thing, especially when we get a foot and a half of snow here. And we were off of school for an entire week. So what actually happened was, pretty much you had to just stay home. I mean, every once in a while you go out with friends and whatnot. But
Mhm,
for that week, I probably like a good half of that week was dedicated to just playing video games. Um, and one of the games, I don't know if I was playing it at the time, but a game that I have, just because there are a lot of different facets. There's this
mhm.
game called Mario Party,
Okay.
and it's a game where you can play with, I think, up to four people. And it's a little bit fun because it's kind of like it kind of incorporates the game modes will incorporate like old board games, and they'll
Mhm,
have mini games as well. So you have each turn, like everybody, rolls a dice, they move X amount of spots. Your idea is to get stars, and sometimes people can take away stars from you.
mhm.
Um, and then in between turns, there's a bunch of different mini games that you can play. So just the combination of being able to one interact with a bunch of people and have a ton of different mini games you can play, and different games you can play within that game, it makes it you less likely to get a little bit more stir crazy. And thinking about that, I could probably last like a good 5 days before I would actually need to go outside.
Well, you'd be outside already on the deserted island,
Oh, well, that's right. I forgot about that part.
but you
I
wouldn't
forgot
even
about
know. Hey,
that.
because you would be so into the game, you wouldn't even know it, right?
Exactly. I wouldn't even care that I'm on a beach somewhere, on an island somewhere.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. So, we have those games that make us rage quit.
Mhm.
What's the one game, mechanic, or level design
Mhm.
that always manages to push you over the edge, my friend?
Mhm. Okay, sure. So again, another game I play. It's called it's an old computer. It's a relatively old computer game. I mean, so it was developed in the early 2000s. It's a computer game called Command and Conquer General Zero Hour.
Mhm,
And so the basic idea with this game is that you can either you play as different factions. So the factions within the game are USA, China, and GLA, which stands for Global Liberation Army, which meant to represent the people in the Middle East.
mhm,
And then within those three main factions, you have three other factions that you can choose from. So you have nine different options, but most people, to try to make it a little bit more fun, you pick random, so you don't know
mhm,
who you're
mhm,
gonna play as. And then you can play anywhere from two players to eight players on one map, and the idea is to kill the rest of the players. Um,
Mhm.
so a game mechanic that just happens in general when you play online with this game is that if you're playing with somebody that doesn't have good internet, um, a couple of the things that the game has, one, it'll lag. So if you're practicing a maneuver or something, you're practicing your strategy offline,
Mhm. Yeah.
you have to and then you play with somebody that has a bad internet connection, it lags. So
Uh-huh.
everything just starts moving slower than you expect, and it's just extremely annoying. And then
Mhm.
even worse sometimes is that if the game detects a mismatch, which just mean it's kind of a further development on that there's a bad internet connection, and then the game automatically ends. And that can happen early on, and that can also happen when you're into like a 40-minute game and you're so heavily invested at that point, and then once the game just shuts off, that definitely causes a rage moment there.
I c I think we get kind of those moments when LinkedIn glitches and
Hmm.
people keep getting sent to the audience.
Exactly. You get kicked off. Yeah, you get kicked off the audience or kicked out of the room. Absolutely.
Yes, and then you think, "Did they kick me out of the room, or is this
Hmm.
a LinkedIn glitched?"
Right.
So, if you had to choose one video game character
Hmm.
to be your sidekick
Hmm.
in real life,
Hmm.
who would it be and why?
Sure. So this will go like straight back to Dragon Ball Z. So in Dragon Ball Z, the main character is Goku. And the
Mhm,
thing is, so the background about Goku is that he's from a different race called the Saiyans, and
uh-huh,
the thing is with them is that they are extremely strong, and also with that, the character of Goku. So Goku's a very fun-loving person, very a funny person, and
uh-huh,
he can be very serious when it comes to his training. So thing is with me is that I like to be serious about my training. So one, there's that, and two, he could just like push me, and we can have fun times. We can go on adventures. That's the thing. He liked to go on adventures and go explore and fight strong opponents and be as strong and as powerful as he could. So he
mhm,
would definitely. I would definitely love for Goku to be my sidekick in real life.
mhm. He sounds like a fun guy.
He is. I wish he was. I wish he was real.
That'd be funny if somebody played Goku in a movie, right?
Well, that's the thing is that there have been projects about like real life, but I guess my thing is that if I ever see an animated cartoon that they do an extremely good job, like Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, other
Mhm,
animes, whenever they try to make a live action and try to make the action sequences as visually impressive as
mhm.
the anime, it's normal. I've yet to see one where I'm as impressed, if not more impressed, than the anime or the cartoon.
Yeah, they'd have some really good artwork.
Hmm.
But it's funny because there's people at Comic-Con that they will act out different characters, and it's pretty funny when you get to see them.
Oh yeah, I haven't been, but whenever I watch Comic Con videos about what people dress like, and
Mhm.
they do sometimes you get different many different characters that really give it justice. So it's cool to see for sure.
Yeah, and then people have fun trying to figure out who that certain character is, and then
Hmm.
they'll call out the name of the character,
Hmm.
and then people will be like, "Yeah."
Hmm. And then hearing about how long it took for them to make their costume and how much it
Yes.
cost them to make it too.
Yes. It's fun stuff.
It is.
Okay, so thank you for answering all those questions. I could see that you are definitely a gamer.
I've played plenty of computer games and game consoles. I still have all my old ones. So my first one I had was a Nintendo 64.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then the newest one I have is the Xbox One. So I think I would have to look up, but I would, because we've had the Xbox ever, or not the Xbox, the Nintendo 64 ever since I was a kid. So I would imagine that that had to be late 90s all the way to I want to say the Xbox One was uh, oh, like 2015. I'm sure someone in the comments would gladly correct me. But I would say like I've got a good like 20-year span of gaming consoles.
Wow. Wow. You got some experience in that.
Hmm.
Well, I'm gonna go now shifting the questions towards leadership and things of that sort. But I'll start off with some questions that tell us a little bit about you.
Sounds good.
Okay? Although those other ones did tell us a little bit, but this
Yeah,
one is, what three people have influenced you in your life and why, Peter?
sure. You know, you gave me these questions beforehand, and I think immediately my mom and my dad for sure. Those two are instrumental. Um, and then as far as a third one, um, I guess I'll give it to my oldest brother as well. They've been the three instrumental lives because they've been my essentially my most constant senior figures in my life.
Mhm,
And so my mom was a stay-at-home mom growing up, so growing up, what, so there's four of us, so
mhm.
she had her hands full, but she was always around me. um, and then yeah, just all three of them in different ways, being that they were the most senior figures that were constantly around me, that they greatly shaped who I am today.
Nice, nice. So, what is one thing that happened to you in your life where you made a decision that you had to do something about it? You had to make a change?
Sure. um, that this is probably a one out of left or right field. I don't know if you were on the call that I actually talked about this a little bit, but it was actually back in college. So I was actually an alcoholic in college, um, and the changing point was, and it was bad enough to the point of I went to the hospital multiple times.
Mm, wow.
And parents are the emergency contacts, so they knew about all of them.
Mhm,
And what made me change was seeing, realizing how upset my parents were about me doing what I was doing. And regardless of how I felt at the time,
mhm,
with any of your loved ones, you don't want to put them into that situation. So I would say, with this situation and any situation, when you have the right motivation, and in that case it was my parents and my brothers and my sister, because they knew about it in that situation too. So thinking
mhm.
about them and not wanting them to worry about me anymore is what made me change and get on a much straighter path to be a lot more serious and a lot more responsible for my life.
Wow, that's nice. That it shows that you really have a close relationship with your parents
I
because
do.
you cared enough to think about not wanting to hurt them
Hmm.
because of
Absolutely.
something that you did, and you saw how it hurt them, and that made it a big change.
Absolutely.
That's great that you have that relationship with your parents. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
So speaking about your parents,
Hmm.
what are the qualities that you like most about your mom?
Um, so for the biggest part was that my mom was very, very caring. So in anything I did, during that time when I was an alcoholic, and then with anything, she was extremely supportive of anything I wanted to do. A little bit more than I would have liked, but
Mhm.
not only my mom but my dad, both of them were amazing parents. So any type of sport that I did growing up, they would put me into lessons outside of that. So I played soccer, baseball, and basketball growing up. I got into football later, and they did the same thing there too. Was that they found coaches that could help me be a little bit better with my skills in any sport. So my mom was extremely caring and wanting to do that. And then did you just ask about my mom?
Yeah, I asked about your
Yeah.
mom, and I guess now it's dad's turn.
Yeah, so dad's turn. So my dad is very, very, and I guess both of them. But just with my mom, because of the way life was, is that so my mom was the stay at home parent. So my dad
Mhm.
went to the office every day, and sometimes it would be, earlier in the morning, late at night. 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. So super long days. He put in the long days,
Mhm.
but overall extremely selfless because he put himself through a lot. Luckily, he's been retired now for 10 years now. But I just remember whenever he came home from work, we would, it's kind of the common thing to ask him, "How was your day at work?" He never had anything good to say about work.
Mm.
But he did it because he was able to provide an amazing life for us, and had a conversation with him about this, like, what put you through it, and he said it was us. And
Mm.
that was very nice because I mean, I as far as I know, none of us had scholarships to go to college. So my sister and I went to Baylor. My oldest brother went to Purdue and UT Arlington, and my
Mhm.
second oldest brother went to UT Austin. None of those are cheap schools. I guess I don't know the exact cost of UT Austin or Purdue or UT Arlington. Um,
Mhm.
but I know that Baylor, at least while myself and my sister there, were at least $45,000 a year. So that's
Wow.
absolutely not cheap. Um, and so, years later, when I asked him, what put him through all of it, he said it was making sure he provided the best life for us. And
Mm.
my respect level, was, you know, it's extremely high for my dad, and showing his selflessness to put
Mhm.
himself through everything he had to do in order to stay in that job for as long as he did, and luckily at least be lucky enough to retire when he did as well. Because I'm guessing he made enough. My parents are extremely smart financially, uh,
Mm.
and because again they put us all through college. I remember I remember back in 2008 when we had our own, or probably the biggest recession that I've seen in my lifetime.
Mhm.
um, and I couldn't tell you that anything was wrong with us. We went through that time period and had nothing wrong, and my dad was, in his selflessness, absolutely contributed it, and then my mom also holding the fort down at home. They're both selfless people. I mean, in a way, that's what you have to be when you're a parent.
Well, it looks like the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, my friend.
Yep.
Because you seem to have really good qualities that you've gotten from your parents. You've made some changes in your life when you saw that, what you were doing was hurting them,
Hmm.
and sometimes sometimes that doesn't happen, but it takes being a selfless person to think about, "Okay, I don't want them to hurt." So
Yeah.
that's awesome. I'd like your mom and dad. They
I,
seem like pretty cool people.
They are.
Awesome. So tell me, now that you are on LinkedIn, what made you decide to go on LinkedIn?
Sure. I remember it just being the thing that you're supposed to do. So I was introduced to LinkedIn whenever I was in college.
Mhm.
I want to say it was sophomore year, and for me, that was 2015.
Mhm.
So I started there, and it's grown to a lot more because initially I was pursuing a career in sports marketing because
Mhm.
I worked at Baylor and
Mhm.
for the athletic promotions team for athletics for 2 years. My junior and senior year I did that, and then I tried to pursue sports marketing afterwards. So the thought was, I have my LinkedIn account created, so probably my first few hundred connections on LinkedIn were either assistant directors of marketing or directors of marketing or grad assistants or interns in sports marketing. So I absolutely used it as a connection tool to try it because that was the thing is that those jobs are extremely competitive because even
Mhm.
back then, even back before you could really see because right now on LinkedIn, if you apply on a job posting, you can, well, now they've changed it to where if over 100 people apply, now you can't tell. It seemed like they changed that a couple months back where
Mhm.
it only says 100 plus, but before that, it's like, even especially uh, me as a recruiter, I would see job postings that would have 3,000 plus applicants on it. But
Mm.
now LinkedIn changed it to where it only says 100 plus, and that's it. I guess to try to not get people discouraged about applying would be my best guess. Um,
So what do
but
you
yeah,
like about it? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no. I guess the last thing I was just gonna say is that, and also with recruiting. So, my first few hundred were sports marketing connections, and then my next few thousand were all related to reaching out to recruiters, human resources, talent managers, different executives, different hiring managers, and different candidates that I've interacted, since because I started recruiting back in 2019. So the like a good 90% of my connections have been accumulated in the last 5 years.
So it seems like you really like recruiting, and if so, tell me what it is that you like about it.
Sure. Whenever I was making the transition from sports marketing to recruiting, and for anyone with a slight curiosity about that, so the thing is with sports marketing, and what made me change out of that is you could easily work, especially during football season, 80 hours a week, and
Wow. You don't
um,
have a life.
yeah, exactly. That's pretty much it. Was that you had no understanding of what of what day it was. I legitimately my last sports marketing job, I had to ask people multiple times a day, what day is it? Because there's no such thing as weekends, and if anything, your
Oh,
weekends are the
no.
most busy time. And then during your week, since I was on the marketing team, I would be getting my graphic designs ready for the games,
Uh-huh.
music ready for the games, making sure the promotions and the sponsors were happy with what we were doing that during the week, and then executing on the weekends. But yeah, I think yeah, for a lot of people, if you just say 80 hours a week, and also the pay size, like, well, do you get paid a lot? Not really,
Oh,
because
wow.
the last director of marketing I worked for, I guess I saw it online beforehand, but he went ahead and told me because he started actually about the same time I did,
Mhm.
and so we were learning the campus and together. But at least I had at least that background with Baylor, and I also worked with the Texas Rangers for a half a baseball season before I got the internship opportunity
Mhm.
at the last place I was at. Um, but he was willing to share with me anything, and he told me that he's mad because he's working 80 plus hours a week and he's only making 35K. Um, and
No,
and this was back, yeah, 2018. So even then, that's not it's not a whole lot. And
no.
so that so then my wheels
Where's
start spinning.
Baylor at? What city is Baylor at?
Baylor is in Waco,
Oh,
Texas.
okay.
So geographically, it's pretty much so it's actually like pretty much right in the middle of where I am and Austin. So Austin is
Okay.
about 3 hours south of me. If you go, the
I've
good
been
old
to
Texas.
Austin.
Hmm?
I've been to Austin.
Yeah, Austin's a great city, and that's it's so it's yeah it's halfway between Austin and here. So it's slowly growing. But it was a very interesting college town because it was for everybody that's seen The Lion King. It was
Mhm.
kind of like that scene of everything the sun touches is the kingdom, and that
Oh,
was Baylor.
wow.
And then everything in the shadows was downtown. That's how people referred to it as, but it has gotten better for sure.
Mm,
I guess for instance, even while I was there, it was a huge change. For instance, so I was a business major,
mhm.
and there was like a very old school business school, and then whenever I was a junior, we got a brand new business school that was probably a good 4 to 5 times bigger, and everything was brand new, flat
Mm,
screens all over to project stuff. They had a and
nice.
within the business school you have like a little finance section, and so there was like one of those strips going across the going across one of the parts of the building where you could like see the prices of different stocks. I thought that was funny, and I wish I knew about that stuff. It makes me laugh even more now that I'm more familiar with that stuff. But
Uh-huh.
it was a super high tech place. And then even the community as well got better because my first if you went there, what was it? So sophomore junior year, you could actually hear gunshots
Mm.
from downtown, and pretty scary. But senior year, they must have cracked down on it because I didn't hear anything over there. But Waco was definitely a very interesting experience while I was there.
Yeah, that's pretty scary to hear the gunshots,
It is.
but I'm pretty familiar with that. But anyways,
Mhm.
I've lived in some pretty
Sure.
crazy neighborhoods in my life.
Hmm.
But, so tell me, what is it about being a recruiter that what would be your ideal recruiter job?
Sure.
Mhm,
Um, I guess my thing is that so far I've actually enjoyed corporate recruiting the most because
mhm,
one, because I did agency before corporate recruiting, and
mhm,
the main difference between corporate and agency, at least on my figure, is that you get one, a bigger salary, so you get a little bit you get more money. And then two, my big thing about why I absolutely like the difference between at least this difference between agency and corporate recruiting is
mhm,
because with agency recruiting, you don't always get to have direct interactions with the hiring manager, and you
mm,
have to rely on either an account executive or someone else to get the information you need for a position,
okay,
which if that account executive or whoever else you have to speak to in order to get that information from the hiring manager isn't the best at your job, it's highly frustrating. And so whenever I got to move to the corporate side, and if I had a question about anything, I had direct access to the hiring manager, and rather than having to wonder about a problem for 2 or 3 weeks because of these one or two levels of people I had to go through to
uh-huh.
get to the hiring manager, I could get the problem solved in the same day.
Yeah, that saves time when you have that connection.
Absolutely.
That's the beauty of building relationships, and I
Absolutely.
think here on LinkedIn, that's what we do. We build
Hmm.
a relationships with people that have the skills, that have uh, ideas and share them and want to help you.
Mhm.
So that's what I love. So I know I've seen you on Joshua's room a lot, and I've
Mhm.
seen you with we were in Kenny's
Mhm.
man of the hour room last night.
Right. Mhm. I don't know if Kenny's down in the audience. I hope that he is.
If he's not,
I'm gonna get after him because he's the one that wanted me to talk with you tonight.
well, you know what? This is going to be replayed.
Good.
The video, that's the thing about videos. They replay. So
Good.
if for some reason he couldn't see, I think it's hard for him with his computer or something because I never get his messages
Sure.
until afterwards. But what do you think about this new tribe that you have
Mhm.
on LinkedIn? And what is it that you like about it? What have you learned from them, and what do
Sure.
you like about it?
Sure. So the first time I was ever introduced to any audio room was with. Do you know any Osung?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So somehow he found me. Or I don't know if it was him or maybe it was Zion that reached out to me.
Oh,
About
he's so nice too. Both of
about
them are excellent.
yeah, about Zion's Mr. Positivity room. Uh,
Mhm.
that was the first time I ever got introduced to audio rooms, and I'm thinking because that was it was very good timing for me
Mhm.
because my before I got this last job I had before that I was unemployed for a little bit over a year,
Mhm.
and I was really down in the dumps, and I was hoping that I could find something that could bring some positivity back in my life. And super ironically, here comes Zion, Mr. Positivity, to give me a little uplift in my life. So it was a
Exactly.
extremely amazing coincidence. Um, and then I think the first time I ever saw you or was ever in a room with you, I want to say it's been maybe a month or two or so
Mhm.
now. And and interacting with Kenny for the past couple weeks as well. And I love Kenny. He makes sure that he invites me to all these different rooms, and we send messages every once in a while throughout the day as well. He reminds me a lot of this one coworker I had a few jobs ago, where the guy and it's the first time I saw this, which was funny, but I ended up loving him so much because he was this 75-year-old guy
Mhm.
that was just doing job part time, but
Mhm.
he's at the eight. He was like treating himself like he could say whatever he want to, and he spoke his mind like he didn't have that corporate filter on him, whatnot. He just said whatever he wanted to. He was so funny. Remi-
Uh-huh.
Reminds me of Kenny and the way he he speaks too, and like one
You mean
second,
like when Kenny says, "Oh, hell no."
right, right, exactly. E- Definitely, I would say easily the best coworker I've had. Like that job was not the best, but he made it so enjoyable. Um,
Authentic people do that.
Yeah. And
Mm.
so
Mhm.
whenever I'm interacting with you and everyone else, whenever I got up onto the stage, so the first time I actually got up onto a stage, um, I I'm assuming you don't want any cursing on here, right?
No,
Yeah.
because then it's gonna be replayed, and then I'm gonna have to put a beep.
Sure. Yeah. So it's
You could
well,
say dagnabbit, though.
sure, but I guess that they do it on purpose because it's like they don't want it to be censored on LinkedIn either. But
Uh-huh.
they use it's F Curry, so the F, the star symbol, and then Kerry,
Mhm.
uh that so the F Curry of parenting.
Mhm.
So Shane,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, have you been in that audio
I
room?
think Shayna's in that room,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes Felipe's in there. I think
Mm-hmm.
Melissa's in there
Mm-hmm.
sometimes.
Yeah, and
Uh-huh.
so that was the first time I was able to get up on stage. And the thing is, I'm not a parent.
Mhm.
But I want to be a parent at some point. So I just figured,
But you were a child.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I figured, she was up on the stage all by herself at the time. So I figured I'll raise my hand and see where this goes. And I think I can't. I want to say maybe one other person got up on the stage with us that whole time, but
Mhm.
otherwise it was her asking. So she was like playing the part of the parent, and me
Mhm.
playing the part of the child, and
Mhm.
we went back and forth for at least an hour and a half, if not 2 hours, um,
Wow.
just talking about all these different things regarding the relationship between parents and kids.
Uh-huh.
Um, so that was very fun. So after that, being able to go up on stage and actually like talk with people rather than just be a listener in the audience that I had
Uh-huh.
always been, with rooms before that, was very enjoyable. And everybody, in the group and the community that we've created is, like you said, super nice, super
Mhm.
supportive of each other. And it's fun to have both like serious conversations and conversations where we just talk about whatever we want to, and we show a
Mhm.
little bit more of our true selves, so to speak.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've absolutely enjoyed being a part of the community.
That's awesome. And I see that that's a good quality in you, Peter, that you sense that I think it was Shayna
Hmm.
needed somebody on the to come up on the stage because it could
Hmm.
put you on the spot sometimes if you have an audio room
Yeah.
and you're the only one doing the talking.
Yep.
And the audio rooms are so people can communicate with each other. That's what I love about them is getting to know people and hear. You learn from each other, right?
Absolutely.
And that's awesome of you to sense that and to get up there and help Shayna out. You rock, homie. You
Absolutely.
help me out too.
Yep. This is fun. This is my first, where I mean, I've watched the live ones, but this is the first time I've actually gotten to be on camera for a
Yeah,
room on
yeah.
LinkedIn.
Do you like it?
I do. It's
Okay,
fun.
awesome. Cool, cool. I need to do more of these. But
Hmm.
I'm glad that you came in and I know that Ferris probably had some problems, so maybe with his computer or something, and we'll get to him next time. But I'm
Hmm.
glad that we had a provocative conversation and get to know more about you. And that way, if anybody's looking for a recruiter, they know that you are a selfless person that wants to help people out
Yeah.
and you take pride in what you do
Yep.
and it all starts with your mom and dad you
Yep.
know so I'm really appreciative that you came in. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Sure. Um, I guess, I lost it. I mean, if anything, I just wanted to say, thank you. I mean, these conversations are super fun. I mean, whether it's live, I guess, uh, one thing, I mean, not maybe not necessarily this topic, there are the topics we've talked about, but just a general thing is like, I wish that like we could, of course, if people are okay with coming on video, I wish that like the functionality of both these live shows and the audio rooms could come together. Because like with the audio rooms, like instead of like seeing comments, like you could actually hear people speak and
Mhm.
actually get the tone of their voice. I like that. Um,
Mhm.
and then versus here, all they can do is like put comments down. So I wish like somehow we could merge those two together. Who knows if LinkedIn will ever do that? But it's just my thought. I don't know if you've ever thought about like, whether people would like try to bring them up on video as well and talk with them, or if what do you think?
I think that I could bring up a few.
Sure.
Mhm. And I think I could bring up the most I could bring up is like maybe 5.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe what we'll do is one day we'll have a little live party.
Yeah, I think that.
Grace T is in the house.
Yeah.
She's put up some stars. How you
Mm-hmm.
doing, Grace? Thanks for showing up.
Yeah, that would be fun. Only like with the group that we have, we need more than that.
Yeah, I know.
Unfortunately, we would have to like set up a Zoom or something like that to
Yeah.
actually be able to see
We're
everybody
just gonna have to
willing to be
all
seen.
I think mostly everybody's in Texas. We're all gonna have to fly to Texas.
Yeah, because I learned that. So I'm in the Dallas area. I heard that Kenny is in the Houston area.
Yeah,
Grace,
Grace is in the Houston too.
yeah, and then probably more people that I don't even know that are here in Texas. But if you ever
Maybe
want to call,
Margaret. I see
um, oh, it's true.
Margaret's here.
Oh yeah, Margaret. Yeah, so Margaret, she's in Kansas, I believe.
Oh, okay. Good to
Somewhat
see you
close.
guys. Hi, Margaret.
Somewhat
Um,
close. I used to make that drive because I have family there. So
yes.
it'd be a good 8 hour drive to Kansas City.
Nice. Nice. I think I did a bus ride from New York all the way to California, and that was an
Oh wow.
experience.
I
Uh,
bet I looked that up and like it'll take you like 2 days or something like that. It seems like to get there or close.
yeah. Yeah, it was a trip. Some of the cities were like Mayberry RFD,
Mm-hmm.
and some of them were one of them was really, in Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
They segregated me and my boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Never That's never happened to me before,
Mm-hmm.
right? So,
Mm-hmm.
that was a trip, and that was in the '80s, and I'm like, "Wait a second, I thought this was over with."
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not. So, anyways, in certain areas, it's still little it's still bad, and it's too bad that I see Margaret is clapping and she's waving. Hi. We could
Hey,
give a
Margaret.
wave. Oh my goodness. Well, I had a lot of fun talking with you, Peter, and we'll have to do some more of these and get some more of our LinkedIn buddies to join us. But yeah, we'll probably see. She says, "Great to see you, Angelica and Peter."
Now she knows. So I had a phone call with her before, but now it's like you get to see what I actually look like rather than my LinkedIn picture.
Yes, definitely. There's something about video where you get to know the personality a little bit
Hmm.
more,
Yep,
right? Than
absolutely.
than just seeing the picture. So awesome. Yeah, so it's good to see you too, Margaret. So I guess we're pretty much toward the end of the room now. I'm so glad that you came in and told us all about your video game
Hmm.
uh prowess.
Sure.
And maybe one of these days you'll come to Comic-Con. If you do, let me know and we'll show you around.
Yeah. I knew all these computer games and video games would be worth something one day.
Mhm.
I get to
Yeah,
talk about them.
yeah, absolutely. Who would have known, huh, that you'd be on LinkedIn talking about, video games?
I wouldn't have thought I would ever.
Well, you know what? I think this opens it up for us to think about things that we could talk about besides just regular work things, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's always fun to go on the like just because like it just came from something that was like related to recruiting. Like we were talking about preferred names, and so like they, at least what I've seen, like we were talking about recruiting stuff, and
Uh-huh,
then we also have rooms where it's a little bit more free form, and like we just get to have fun with each other, poke fun at each other.
uh-huh.
So those have
That
been
would be Noni's and Ollie's room, right?
yep.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Well, I know that you're also a great rapper, so I'm looking forward to hearing
That was
seeing
pure
it.
luck.
Oh, it'd be funny if we did rapping here on a video show. That would be hilarious.
Yeah. I'd actually be down for singing. I don't know. Were you in the audio room? I would need to look back at it, but it was towards the end where um, Kenny wanted we used to, Joshua was singing a couple times,
Mhm.
and then Kenny wanted me like trying to goat me into singing, and I
Uh-huh.
actually did, and I
Uh-huh.
don't think he was expecting it.
So what
Um,
song did you sing?
Lean on Me.
Oh,
Have you
nice.
heard that song?
Uh-huh.
It's a great like. So I was in Delta Sigma Pi, this is a business frat,
Mhm.
and that was our song. And I'm thinking like this is a great song for like just everybody to hear. It's our community that
Mhm.
sometimes will come to our rooms with and any troubles or problems we have, and we come here for support. So I thought that was a really good song to sing to everybody, and I enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
Did you see me, or were you able to
No, I
hear
think
what?
I might have left the room by then. I might have these rooms sometimes go late, not and s
It was a late night one. Well, I guess not as late for you though, because you're 2 hours behind me. I think
uh,
for me, it was a little bit after midnight. I want to say when I was
uh-huh,
singing. So
uh-huh.
it's like prime
So it's
time.
like 10.
Yeah, prime time for here. It's like prime time going out to the bars and singing karaoke.
I love karaoke, it's fun.
hmm
We should do a karaoke night here.
I'd be down for that. I'm actually way more into that idea than I am into rapping because again, that whenever I did do that those whatever a couple sentences I did, that was pure luck, and I still think it's funny that you guys liked it, but I'll take it.
You did good, you did good. She said, "Peter, will you set a video game where we all can play?"
So yeah, so there are some video games that are a little bit more friendly, but also kind of funny.
Mhm,
Because one that I think is just extremely funny is
mhm,
Mario Kart on the Wii. So you
mhm.
actually have like a physical like steering wheel that you turn, and so we were thinking because we had my parents here and we also had my great uncle here, and we thought that I mean it's driving a car, that's a game that they would be willing to play, and trying
Uh-huh,
to watch them play with it because they were just I mean, I guess it's kind of like with a car in general because you have to be used to the steering radius and how well a car turns. So
uh-huh,
in a way, it's somewhat realistic, I guess, in a way because different
uh-huh,
cars have different turning radiuses and different handling. So, but it
uh-huh.
was just extremely funny watching them trying because they were going backwards most of the time, and they were staying in last place the whole time, so that was great. But games like that I think of, but the game that I could stay on a desert beach for probably the most time
Uh-huh,
was Mario Party
uh-huh.
on the Wii system as well because that's a game where it's the mini games are pretty simple to play, not too complicated,
Did you
and
see the
a lot of
Mario
variety.
movie?
Hmm?
Did you see the Mario movie?
I have not. I've only seen clips of that, and I actually was very interested because whenever I heard Chris Pratt was gonna voice Mario, and then I think it was Jack Black that's voiced Bowser or voiced one of the characters. I want to say it was Bowser. I don't
Uh-huh,
know.
uh-huh.
But once I heard that, I was like, I should, but I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it either. It was supposed to play at, one of the video conferences over here, and we were all mad and bummed out because they were having technical difficulties. That's always the thing, isn't it?
hmm
Technical difficulties.
Yep.
But I had a lot of fun with you, Peter. It's already 7 o'clock. Wow.
Yeah, we made
The hour went by like
it.
that. You're awesome, my friend. I really enjoyed listening to you and learning more about you. And now you could share the YouTube link with people. And
Which one?
so it'll be out and I'll send it to you.
Okay,
And and then you can have a reminder of this event.
absolutely. Yeah, this was fun. Thank you for wanting me to do this with you.
Yeah, no, well, thank you for helping a sister out, We
Absolutely.
appreciate that. That just shows that you are always willing to learn new things and to help others, and that's a
Yep.
good quality to
Yep.
have,
Absolutely.
especially in work, right?
Yeah.
So, at any rate, I guess we'll end this event,
Hmm.
and we love everybody who was able to make it, and if you're here today now, we love you, and if you're a replay person, we still love you too.
Yep.
So, have a wonderful evening, everyone.
Yep.
And love you, my new friend Peter. I mean, I've known you for a while on Noni's room, but
Hmm.
now it was nice to have a one-to-one conversation with you.
Absolutely. It was nice to meet you, and I love you too, Angelica. I love
Thank
your
you.
personality. I love your fire.
Thank you. And anything I could do to help you, I'm here for you, my brother.
Same goes for you as well.
All right. Well, you have a good evening. Mwah.
Good evening.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.